Where?
Can't you get them in different thicknesses though?
Yeah.
Okay, March 26, 2025 meeting of the Harbor Commission, City of Depoe Harbor Commission is called to order. And we need to establish a quorum. We have Jack Burright, we have Ted Mick, we have Liz Martin, and Jack O'Brien. We have a quorum. Next thing on the agenda is something that I should have done in January, but we need, every January, we're supposed to elect a chair and a vice chair. So we need to do that now for this year. And I would propose for chair that Liz Martin be chair.
I will second that.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, good. We need a vice chair. Who would like to be vice chair?
I nominate Jack.
I nominate Jack.
Which Jack are you talking about?
Oh,
Either.
I prefer Jack number one, sir. I mean, you.
We need your experience.
Yes.
Okay,
So Jack O'Brien, I nominate Jack O'Brien.
been nominated, I've been on, okay, all in favor of, me being the vice chair? Aye,
Aye.
okay, quorum is good. All right, administrative details are taken care of. Changes, additions to the agenda, anybody have any? Hearing none, have no correspondence. Each of you do have, however, a hard copy of the final Harbor Commission, Harbor regulation. And thank you, Carl, for doing that for us. We need to approve the minutes, and I haven't seen the minutes of January.
No, I left you a phone message on your telephone that, from the time it got reviewed, there just wasn't enough time for me to get them out for you guys to have time to read them, so they'll be the next.
Okay, that's fine, all right. Next time, all right. Good, next item on the agenda, in our agenda on the filing cabinet back there. Next item is public input. Do we have any public input that has not already been input?
Are you talking just background? Huh?
Or
Or
anybody,
talking
I
like,
don't know who.
what?
Laffer is.
You talking like for rub rails or something like that on the finger dock?
Any issues, Gary?
Any issues, public,
This is your
Anything
time.
that's not
This
on
is
the
your time to
agenda.
shine, Gary.
What's that?
Anything
Come on
that isn't on the agenda, yeah.
That would be good.
Yeah.
If you wanna
Go,
do
Gary.
something not on the agenda. Yes, please.
Take a few
If you
there.
could sign in.
sign in, please.
Anyway, I'd like to talk about the figure docks. And trying to see if we put the rub rails on, like it's on number 1 and number 4. It actually looks pretty nice on the dock, because rather than have 3 vendors there. One of the reasons, they have a rub rail.
Can you explain to the uninitiated just what a rub rail is?
Oh, they've been on, front dock 4 right now. I think,
Dock one has the padded edges going along the edge of the dock, that's the white on there. We have some on the old finger docks that were taken off of dock one and put on dock 4. Those still have
Okay,
those
those,
white,
okay, all right,
that white rub rail on there, or rub pads, yeah.
okay. All right, so nothing has been added to the 4, it's just that the, okay, I got it now,
Yeah.
okay, go
It's
ahead.
on dock 2.
Yeah.
And, because they are sharp. And if we've got fingers in number there now, that, you know, they're gonna cut the lines on the fingers. So it's probably gonna lose the fingers. The other reason cannot get people from the dock, from the finger dock to the boat. It's too wide. They have to be able to step over that too, is what we like to do, or be able to sit down and then roll, they can swing their legs over. A lot of people got bad backs, they got bad hips, bad knees, 70% of them.
So you're saying that there's too much room? I'm trying to-
There's too much in between the finger dock and our boat, you know, it's like that.
Because those fenders are in it, sorry.
Because the fenders are in the way.
Yeah.
He's got a Zodiacs also where they sit lower and don't have like a flat platform for people to step directly onto the boat.
But what's causing the space is because you've got a fender in
Yes. the
there.
fender
Okay,
is-
sorry, I'm trying to visualize how.
Plus you have that tube.
Yeah.
You gotta get over, I mean, that's big, too,
Mhm.
you know, 20-inch tube.
So you're saying, but by half, if you went back to those rub rails, then you wouldn't have to put,
That's right, you can more out close to the dock, you like that.
yeah, okay, sorry,
And
I'm
then
just.
we can sit the people down and help them swing over, you know.
Okay, so rub rail would eliminate the need for fenders and would
Yeah.
reduce the space between the dock and the boat.
Yes.
Got it.
Thank you.
That makes sense.
And eliminate the sharpness of those edges.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
90 degrees.
As far as the inflatable boats, we get one of those edges on the corner or something,
Mhm.
there's a new tube. About 40 grand.
What keeps the sharp edge from cutting the rub rail?
Well, because you, I mean.
Yeah, if
you
it
wrap
bends over, it's got a little flap, I think you can screw.
Yeah, it's a 90 that fastens below the corner and above the corner.
So it just wraps it. How hard are those to put on?
Double screws and a little bit of time.
And those would be, okay to do on those new docks, right?
Not according to the city ordinance.
No, I'm just saying, for you to put them on, is it,
It's,
No, it's not a difficult thing to add.
okay, and the new docks would take them fine, and, okay.
This is something that John Stenson's been talking about for the last 3 months with us.
yeah,
Because the sharpness of that, you
Yeah.
know, UMHW is so severe that it's breaking fenders and
Well, if it's a
boy, the
safety issue,
Zodiacs.
Yes.
if it's a safety issue, I think before it wasn't brought to our attention as a safety issue, now that you're saying safety, that really's got my attention.
One other quick subject, at the top of dock two, just as you get to the ramp and at the top of the platform, there's a little bump right there.
yes,
And I was thinking,
and I have noticed that,
okay.
that's uncomfortable.
We don't like it, they don't like
We
it.
don't like it, and, we'll talk to, I can't remember if I talked to you.
We show that to John,
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
the engineer, yeah, that definitely is an issue. So
that
we
needs
haven't
to
signed
be
off.
less of a, it needs to be more like the old,
Yes,
entry.
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
agree.
As in a longer plate than a shorter plate. Right, am I thinking of the right?
Well, I basically, the plate now is like this. So here's the parking lot, and here's the landing, and, because I noticed it when I said, well, we gotta get rid of that.
So it's on a hinge?
No, it is on the hinge, but the hinge is here, but.
Oh, that's the long, yeah.
And, I mean, it shouldn't be there.
So the reason it is there is because they put a flat plate on there initially, and because that seawall was not perfectly level and they made that platform level, the plates that they had transitioning from the platform to the concrete, they weren't sitting level on the ground, so they put that bump in there so they would have a flat surface on the pavement side also.
Okay, but I don't, it would seem to me they could make it less of a bump, less of a hump. I don't, that.
Yeah.
that-
I think it's worth
needs to fix
investigating
it.
further.
Either that or we pour some concrete on the.
Drive a forklift over, it'll flatten out.
Yeah. Okay, but yeah, you're right.
And I think that we need to look into that, these rub rails, because that is a safety issue that's gonna pop your boat. I mean,
oh, it'd be gone.
yeah, and if it's people who have, there's a chance that they can get
Yes,
hurt
a
getting
lot
in
of
and out of
people,
the
you know.
boat.
We figure 70%. You know, it's always gonna seem like something.
Okay,
Thanks.
got it. Thank you. Anybody else have
I
something?
wanna come up and talk about something other than,
That's fine,
right.
because that's on the agenda, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's your turn. Couple things I just wanted to bring to your attention that we were trying to troubleshoot down there. First off, I wanna say, in spite of all the other things going on above the docks, I feel like we're in a whole brand new harbor. And I've been in every single harbor from Los Angeles all the way up to, Westport, and spent time in every one of those harbors, and some more than I wanted to. But anyway, two things is, and it's only dealing with one boat. As you know, Tyler is in a wheelchair, and you know, his boat's the first one docked right there, which is great. When we put the boat there, we moved it forward, moved it backwards, we turned it around, and no matter what we did, the spacing of the cleats are symmetrical, they're all the same, which is great, except it doesn't work for him. Where his door is in the hull, and they're same on both sides, the cleat is right smack in the middle of that door.
Where the rest would go?
Right in the smack of that door. I cannot fit my handicap ramp, and we share that ramp back and forth between us. And, the only other way, two ways to get around this, and I'm just gonna say this, and I'll let you guys come up with a solution, is, if we had to build another ramp that would even be bigger and heavier than the one I have now, it would have to be back ways, and then we'd have to flatten it off the top and go over the top of the cleat or the mooring line.
Or do a 90-degree thing, and that would be even bigger.
Yes,
Can we?
we're trying to keep it simple.
Yeah,
The other thing is, that would solve it, and I know this would take a little bit of work on Roy's part and the engineer, and it doesn't have to be done tomorrow, but when you're really busy, it should be nice, is to move the cleat about 3 feet to his stern, or it would be, in reference for Roy, it'd be 3 feet to the west. Because the only time he turns the boat around would be to clean the hull or something, it's always gonna be tight the way it is. And if we could move the cleat 3 feet that way, and then put the grating right back over there so it's all filled in correctly, that would completely solve that problem as far as trying to get him. So right now, his crew is having to physically pick him up and go over the top of that. So it's 2 to 3 crew to do that.
if that cleat were removed, would that interfere with his tying up his boat?
It would have to be moved and,
No, if it were removed, would
Now-
that interfere with his tying up the boat?
it would interfere with tying the boat down correctly, because then the stern would swing out if it was totally gone. We need a spring, stern line,
Okay, all right.
spring line.
So it needs to, the cleat needs to be moved and not just removed?
Yes.
Removed.
Yes,
Okay.
correct, yes.
Doable, Roy?
I'll need to look into that. I
Yeah.
know that we have the warranty with the AAC and with the contractor saying that we aren't supposed to be doing any major work on these docks for a certain amount of time. So I will get in contact with them and see what can be done to relocate this
Right,
cleat
short
3
of-
feet to the west.
Short of having them send the whole crew down
Yeah.
from wherever. Yeah, or if that's the only solution, then that's what's gonna have to happen.
If they were to, it looks like it's on a large block
Mhm.
there now. If they were just to bring a new block down and leave the current block there,
Just pull a cleat.
And just move it. down, that block there would not interfere with anybody getting on or off or the ramp at all. So just a thought, so you
Yeah,
wouldn't have to move any
That's a
grading
good suggestion.
on it. That's what I would do if it was up to me to do that. And one little side note to all of that, I just want to tell you what we're trying our best to do is we found a great little spot down there to set our handicap ramp that we use every single day, multiple times a day, So it's out of the way. So right next to Tyler's boat, there's the piling, and then there's that power pedestal, that, the new one with, is that breaker
It's a breaker
panels?
box, yeah.
Yeah, so it fits right in there like that, perfect, so it's totally out of the way, and then we know exactly where it is, so we can run over, or whatever boat needs it, it's there, and if anybody needs to use it on the other boats down to the end of the dock, you're welcome to do so. It just happens to fit ours.
You slide between the legs of the power panel.
Oh, it just fits right in there, right where that, what do you call
The breaker box.
it? The breaker
and-
box, that big,
Yeah,
big box, and it's right there, and it happens to be right next to that piling, so
Yeah,
it's just totally out of the way. So,
okay,
Well, again, I'm glad that you brought the
Yeah.
cleat, because that is a safety issue again.
I tried every which way but Sunday to figure out how to do that.
I
And
don't,
if even shortening the line or whatever on the stern is not quite enough to do it.
yeah, I don't see why that should
So
be,
that's all I have on that.
thing.
So-
okay,
Thank
thanks, we'll, get that open. And Roy, I think that's a good suggestion he has about just putting another block and moving the fleet from one block to the next.
Yeah, I need to see what I'm allowed to do with the warranty and all things like that.
Well, I think we should ask them about it.
Yeah, well, I wanna say we also have, they left scrap pieces behind also, so we might have the materials, I just wanna make sure that we aren't voiding any kind of warranty or anything.
Well,
like that.
exactly, yeah, we don't wanna do that, but, ask them, explain the problem to them, ask them, and make that suggestion that Jurgen has about putting a new block in, pulling the cleat, attaching it to the new block, and
Being on a,
go, yeah, sounds good, all right.
How
Thank you.
long is the warranty?
I thought it was about a year.
It's five.
It's fine.
I think it's
Is it five?
five, yeah, I think it's a 5-year warranty.
I didn't think that was long enough, but
Is that just parts and labor or just parts?
I believe it's parts.
Parts.
Which really doesn't come out too much.
Okay, any other public comment? Okay. Moving on to the next item, which is liaison report, and I believe that Liz, you covered that.
I went to the March 4th and the March 18th meeting, and as some of you might know that Booner has resigned from the Harbor Commission. So there is a vacancy there. The most thing that really pertained to us is what we're talking about tonight, and I thank you, people that came and gave some testimony to the crab pot storage fees discussion. And I think we're gonna talk about that a little bit later on. So other than that, there wasn't anything out of the ordinary that pertained to the harbor.
Okay. Actually, the liaison officer for April would have been, yeah,
Okay.
you want to do it, Laurel?
I
Okay,
have to be here anyway.
okay. All right,
I think Tad had something to.
No, I
Am I missed?
was thinking out of April, I mean,
you may, you may not.
I have to be around, so I can help.
Okay.
Sure.
All right, so.
right on.
I'll be on April. They clip my wings, I can't go anywhere.
Okay, all right. Okay. Harbor master report.
Alright, I'll be quick. Let's see. For some reason, dock 3 keeps tripping power. I've been working with Reese Electric to try to figure out why they're having issues, trying to figure it out also, because for some reason it's tripping the entire dock instead of just one pedestal. So we're ongoing, trying to figure out that little bug
So
still.
that doesn't have anything to do with the original problem that has been bypassed?
The wiring issue from the main, no. This is something to do with the new system, and I got a hold of Advanced American and they got me in contact with the electrical, so they are great, or, well, they know the situation also, so.
And that would be under warranty.
Yes,
Okay.
so, yeah, so I have no problem calling them multiple times a day when I have questions. And at least he was able to give me the quick training on how to reset those docks. It's not just a matter of flipping the switch and it's all back on. There's a few places to look for problems. So. Still, like I said, still ongoing with that. Talked to him earlier today, and we're trying to get it figured out. Got the grading put down on the docks, so the last, for the westernmost 3 sections of docks down there, all have the crab pot grading put down and all ready to be abused. Been calling the annual mortgage holders, trying to get everybody to read over the new ordinance rules that came into effect on the 4th. I've got about a little over half of them taken care of, other ones are trickling in, trying to get here during the weekends when I'm here and they're available, so getting through that hopefully sooner than later. Sounds like we're shifting the fuel dock to be open 7 days a week now, still doing the 1 to 3:30 time, and as summer goes on, we might adjust depending on if we need to. And I'm still working on the Sandy Sailor. We got that new system put in and it works great. However, now it seems to be, we have another problem with that one, and it looks like the plumbing down below the concrete is having issues, kind of the same way the electrical conduit had when they were redoing that. So I've been in contact with a local plumber, and we're talking about how to re-plumb that suction line and not going underground where we can't get to it, because the way it's plumbed, it goes straight down under the slab, really close to the concrete fuel bunker, which I can't get underneath, and so that's another ongoing project also.
That makes sense to keep it,
External, where we can actually see it. Yeah, I had a Oregon Sea Grant come out, and then she brought some dye tabs, and we were putting it down there, and we weren't seeing anything coming out anywhere, so that means it's gotta be under that concrete slab, going just into the gravel underneath concrete.
Okay,
the way that's shifting, that's not a surprise.
Yeah, it's not that's what we were all saying also, it's not surprising.
okay,
That's what I got.
okay, thank you. Carla, you have anything from the administrative, from recorder?
I don't, other than that recently adopted ordinance now is available on the city website if you wanna see the full ordinance beyond just the little sheets that everybody's been signing. Full ordinance is available now.
Thank you.
At the 356-25.
Yep.
Okay, moving on to the next item, which is unfinished business, and first item under that is new docs initial wrap-up, okay? I guess we've heard some of the issues that, now that boats are back where they were or want to be at this point.
I've got a few boats that need to be moved around, but for the most part, everybody's
Okay,
getting back where they need to be.
all right.
Okay, Gary, I got a quick question for you.
Yeah.
What if we just beveled those sharp edges? Would that be
I'd still think it'd be an issue there,
yeah,
as far as the tubes go. There's some trim around.
You'd have to do a bullnose, rather, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean,
On that long.
yeah, I mean, there's some trim around there. It would catch on that trim, just rip that trim right out of it.
oh, on your Zodiac
On the boat,
itself? Yeah, okay, yeah.
And
So
also,
a bevel above and a bevel below, would that do the trick, you think, or?
I'd be worried about doing that mainly, well, I don't know if that would work for him, but for us, the amount of plastic that'd be coming off those docks and going in the water, I could see becoming an issue and not having a great way of containing it would be a thing.
You'd have to remove each piece.
Yeah, and those are bolted on there pretty good.
So, while you guys are talking about, I have another question, so if we were to look at this, would we do all of the finger docks, or would we just do the ones that people request that they need to have?
Well, I think the city wants uniformity.
Yeah,
So
I'm just
my
throwing
guess
that out,
would
I'm
be
just
the-
kind of thinking about it.
If there's a needs a large gap, I would think it'd probably be all dogs.
Well, if it, yeah, and a safety issue,
Exactly.
yeah.
You-
So just, I just wanna make sure I have my conversation correct, so.
If you look at dock 4, down there where it knows. I mean, it actually looks pretty nice. I think there's 5 slips or something like that.
Yeah, those 5 fingers from, dock
I
one.
mean, it makes the dock look, I think, better, too.
Having that,
If we can't do that, you wanna move?
Well,
And both big, those small fingers, he's gonna be
Yeah, I'll
hanging
bring
out
one
a
of
lot.
those medical fingers over.
Okay. All right. Moving on to the second item under unfinished business, crap pot storage fee. Had a meeting a little bit ago with the boat captains, some boat captains. And the city would like I guess the city is expecting it to be presented to city council on April 1st. Yeah. Now, there has been a proposal from a city council member that frankly doesn't sit well with anybody that I've talked with. So we asked the board holders that attended the meeting a little bit ago. And their proposal was that there'll be an annual fee, not a monthly or quarterly fee. And with which I agree on that. I think it's definitely, and I think city staff, I know city staff prefers an annual fee, so it's one and done, can be paid along with the annual millage fee. So the proposal from the folks that attended that meeting ranged for a fee for crab pot storage ranging from $100 a year to $250 a year per mortgage holder. What does the Harbor Commission, what do the Harbor Commission members think of that proposal?
well, I just like
Go
to
ahead.
say how they arrived at that figure, because I think that's important. That, based on square footage, comparing to the square footage that they're paid as an annual mortgage holder. So that's what the space that the crab pots would be taking up would be based on what they are paying for their boat mortgage. If that makes sense. So they did the math.
Yeah, and part of this fee, I would think, would probably go toward amortization of the cost of the platforms on which the crab pots will sit. I will say that the city got a pretty good deal on the platforms due to the fact that the company had some that had been ordered and manufactured, but the company that ordered them didn't want them. So the city got a reasonably good deal on that.
So just a question, is that for all their pots? So 150 per year for 6 crab pots now, or
Well,
3 years?
you can only put 60 pots per 10, per section,
Right,
per dock section, and with the exception of dock 2, which is 15-foot sections, all the rest are 10-foot sections. And that includes docks 1, 2, 3, and 4.
So
Go ahead.
I just want to clarify. So if somebody had 14 pots they wanted to store, and somebody else only had 6 pots, you're talking about a total altogether on that dock.
Total of
So- so you
60
could
pots
have-
per dock section.
You could have
I'm
more,
sorry, it's 20 pots. 20 pots per dock section. So it's total of 60 pots over the 3 dock sections.
What's the average charter boat carry for pots or
10 to 14
per?
per boat.
Certified boats carrying 14. I know one is carrying more.
10 to 14.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to, do the math, so if somebody had more, somebody had less, it's that 60 pot would, I'm trying to think of how many big boats in dock 2 right now, 4,
2, 3.
3.
They can only have 20 pots for all 3 boats, and each of them carry 10 to 14, correct?
Well,
Per section, there's
Per
three
section.
per
There's
section,
3 sections, so
not
there's
per boat. The
so there's
storage is
60 pots.
per dock section.
So every boat category A, B, and C gets to has the opportunity to have crab pots
I guess now by.
by the ordinance. So if you look at the ordinance that was just adopted, it will clarify 10 pots for category C, and then it drops down for category B, and then it drops down for category A.
I was strictly charter boats for the
Yeah.
Yeah, and we can only store the pots on the docks when we're not crabbing at sea. So rarely are 6 charter boats per dock whale watching and or just fishing and not, never, really. And that'd be 12 charter boats out there
So does
whale
that,
watching all the time.
I think that was a concern, maybe, that having more than 10 pots, I think you can have more than 10 pots.
Well,
You cannot store more than 10 pots on the dock, based on the ordinance. Per
Per
boat.
vessel.
part of the
Per vessel, per
concern
vessel.
was the height of the stacks. That
Or,
was part of the concern of the city council, was the heights.
yeah, 4 pots per stack.
5 pots per stack.
Well, that's what you'd like, I believe it said 4, it's in here.
It's in the ordinance, whatever
Is
they
it 4?
adopted.
I thought it was.
It is the book.
It was 4, it was 5.
I thought it was 4 plus 1 connecting stacks together.
Oh,
So that makes 9 pots then.
Yeah, the numbers didn't line up.
it'll be 9 pots.
I thought it was toward the end, but
Page,
Page 9, I think.
I'm sorry, I think things have been talked about and
10
changed
pots.
so much that.
right here, page 8,
Page 8, bottom.
Class C vessel.
Yeah, that tells how
10
many,
pots per vessel.
yeah, but it doesn't talk about how high. This it doesn't talk about how high it's not good. It doesn't,
No, so I don't think we did.
it doesn't talk about how high, right, it was talked about, but it's not in the ordinance.
I guess it doesn't apply.
Taken out.
Huh?
I said it might have been amended by the council, I don't know.
Well, the idea was originally 2 stacks.
Yeah,
So 2 divided by 2, or 10 divided by 2 is 5.
well, right, but I think like Roy said, it was 4, and you could put a 5th one, straddling the 2 4s.
But that's not really
But
clarified.
it's not clarified here, but, so, let us not talk about how many you can put on there. Rather, let's talk about what it's gonna cost, or what and what we wanna propose to the, city council.
What did your first meeting come up with? It gets a fair for 150? I wasn't there, sorry about that.
We did not come up with a fee,
Sounds better than $1,000.
Um,
Yeah, I thought the whole first part of this was liability for the crab pots, in case Tim falls into them, they all fall in the water. And that's out now, so that's been resolved, right, because the height of the pots, correct?
Right.
And now we're talking a fee based on, I don't know where this fee came from, the proposal.
City council.
Yeah, well.
So the city council wants a storage.
Try not to be frank there, but
They,
yes.
they want a storage,
Yeah,
and they're,
so.
they're adamant about
To
it.
recoup from the federal grant, that,
No,
No. It's not-
it just goes into the operational fund.
Yeah.
A figure that we just kicked around was, so, because I think it's good to know what the highs and the lows, right? $1,000 a year, was a figure, a year.
A month,
No, I'm not talking about
We're not
Frank.
talking about
okay,
the
No, I'm not-
single person
Got it.
proposal,
I'm
we're
not
talking
talking
about
about
what we had discussed, you know.
Just on a discussion
Yeah.
on, $1,000 a year. And again,
Down at the meeting?
no, just,
Harbor Commission meetings and discussions.
no, we're just, and that's what we're trying to get, is a figure from you, what do you think's
Yeah.
a fair price?
Few
I
hours.
understand where you're coming from, your figures, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Something,
Good.
I'm just saying that the high and lows of what we're looking at. Again, we wanna make sure that we come up with a figure that, because it ultimately is gonna come down to what the city council decides to do. So I wanna make sure I put a figure in there that's, fair, reasonable for everybody.
And Jack,
We can all, and that we can all defend.
yeah, and the reasoning was for our mortgage, we pay $3,000 a year for a 50-foot boat that's 16 feet wide, which is 800 square feet. So push it up to $3,200 a year, 3,200 divided by 800 is $4 a square foot. And the footprint of the crab pots, call it 4 by 8, 32 square feet. Comes to like 126, but out of fairness, Jurgen came up with a little bit bigger, and I think we arrived at 250.
well,
Right?
I don't know if I can say anything, but it was, I put down $10 a square.
Can we, just let the public come forward and
Okay,
speak a little bit?
Yeah, if you would,
People
because
can
we needed,
respond that way.
this has to be recorded.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, right, my name down here.
No, you don't have.
Yeah, for that
Okay.
purpose.
Okay.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, you've already signed it once.
Here we go. Okay. Talking about the fees, so first off, we gotta come up with something that's fair and equitable for the amount of space that's actually being used. And the timeline we're talking about being used, that's another issue right there. But let me address the elephant in the room right now, and that's the cost. The cost needs to be somewhere in alignment, similar to what our mortgage is. Because what was talked about prior to this was way beyond that scope. Okay, so we're beyond that. I came up with, and I don't know if even my other captain friends would agree, but was $10 a foot for a 24 square foot space with a 3 foot by 8 foot footprint. And that's only gonna allow me to put 9 pots or 10 of my 14. That's how many pots I carry. So I gotta figure out what to do with the other 4 pots when I'm level. So I don't know where I'm gonna carry them to, go set them up in the parking lot, I guess, I don't know. But at that price, that's $240 for that particular space. And that is even twice of what Pat had mentioned, which he has the numbers, I don't, for the mortgage, the square foot for the mortgage. So I was trying to come up with a number that I thought would be fair and equitable on that. Storing your crab pots there is not something that should be a revenue generating large fund item, ticket item for the port or city or anything like that. That's not what that's about. As far as, I want to address another thing on this is
I wish there was a way we could revisit with the engineers as us as operators on where they came up with this arbitrary number of 10. Because it's not a weight issue. These pots are not that heavy. Our stack of pots that I have, or I should say my stack of pots that I have with 14 pots, does not weigh more than either one of you standing with me and my granddaughter on the dock. It's not a weight issue. Okay, let's make that clear. The other thing is if you're renting a spot out on the dock for the storage of these pots, and I realize they've already talked about you can only be there while you're out doing this or that, and fishing or whale watching if you don't have all your pots out, I understand that. But if they're there during the daytime, why can't I, as in the past, leave them sitting there in the evening or nighttime? Because the people are all around the harbor during the daytime, but at nighttime, there's nobody down there. This seems like some other issue that's going on in other people's minds, and I need it told to me why we cannot set them there. If we're gonna pay to rent the spot, that's like saying to me, if I am renting a condo or staying in a condo, and I'm told in the price of my condo, I can park my car in front of the condo, but oh, you have to move it at nighttime, you can't leave it there because it doesn't look good, and we have to move our car someplace else in town, park it on the street. So that's my analogy to that. The one other thing that I would like to see with the engineers is why can't we get another one of these great platforms and move it one more down? It's still way long ways away from the ramp, at least 50% of the distance away from the ramp. So the first two boats don't have to take them so far down the end of the ramp, physically carry them, or use mechanical methods to carry these pots down to the other end. Yeah, they're not that heavy, but you go and pick them up and carry them a bunch of times, including on the boat, then they become kind of a nuisance to have to do multiple times during the course of the day. So those are some points. But as far as getting back to the fee, that's the only thing that I could come up with, because it looks far more equitable than in the Class C, and I bring it down and look into the Class A and B, and they're talking monthly, and even at that adds up a lot. So that's my input right now. If you have any questions, I'm happy to
No,
answer.
thank you, I appreciate
Okay.
that.
While you're there, I can answer, I think at least one thing. Oh, no, I do have a comment on that. You were saying buy 3, not 4 dock sections. I think that, right now we have to deal with the 3 dock sections. But I would think that maybe downstream, as we see how this pans out over the long term, and as personnel change occurs, that might be something to consider downstream, in my opinion.
I think you brought up a lot of
Yeah. Oh,
good
yeah.
points there that
Yeah.
I'm willing to go to bat about.
Yeah,
You know, I look back at now and I think that we've been talking and discussing this crap issue for so long that I think at the end, we kind of just like, let's just get it done. And now I'm looking back and some of the things you bring up don't make any sense to me.
Well, I think, looking back, and here, I am only gonna speak for myself, but I have been in this harbor and been a mortgage holder longer than any single person in Depoe Bay, continuously. I've been a captain for 45 years, 44 years I've been paying mortgage, not my first year, I ran over. Okay. I try extremely hard and with my crew to make sure anything that's on the dock and in the past is neat and tidy, out of the way and safe. And then this whole thing explodes because of a bunch of boats, and I'm not gonna say names, sport boats or anybody, people that come and go that are not even here, made a mess of things. And then we made a big effort to clean it up and show that it could be better. I didn't change a damn thing, because I already had it that way. So, putting the pots down on the end of the dock, stack them all up the exact same way I've always done it, in exactly the same square footage that I just described, the 3x8. And I took pictures and I have the measurements on my phone, and I'd be happy to share, but it's there. And then stacking the pots, for 14 pots right there, and stack up, and then the last two go on top, so it's kind of a shape like this, I even recommended, let's put covers on them. They make covers, you can buy covers now for crab pots. White covers, it looked like the power pedestals down there. So any number of things we could do to make it even nicer. So I hope at some point there will be some reevaluation of all of this. And I think now there's a lot of personal pride with these new docks. I feel like, wow, it's a new harbor. I love the new docks. They're wide, and as far as load capability, just yesterday I saw the most people I've ever seen on the dock at one time, because we never let that many people on the dock on the old docks. And I was standing on the bridge of my boat looking at it, and I was amazed that the docks were level. They weren't sinking, they weren't sagging, they weren't twisting, and they maybe only went down maybe an inch. So we got a winner there. Those docks are really good. So everybody's happy with the docks. But the management of the docks needs to coincide with the users of the dock. And the users want to do their part, but we got to work together on it. So the only thing that I have about it is that if we're going to rent the spot, give us a little more leniency on it. Let's see how it goes. If there's a problem, let's address it. And go from there.
Thank you.
Okay, good, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
I will say, just for everybody's information, edification, that we have discussed amongst ourselves on the Harbor Commission and proposed to the city. One of the first proposals we had was, okay, crab pots, all right, nothing stored outside the center line of the dock. We made that proposal, and city didn't care for that. We talked about where else could we put, store the pot. One proposal came up from the city council was, well, why don't we put a barge or something in the water up against one of the docks, and then we could store them on that. Well, that's not a possibility, and the reason being that dock 2, because it is wider and longer than it used to be, we had to make a mitigation effort. So we've got 5 years to do a study on the necessity of the check dam and how it applies to all that to allow dock 2 to be built, designed and built the way it is. So putting a barge on there is going to, because dock 2 increases the overwater space and the fish can't see the sunlight. So if you put a barge in there, that's additional coverage of the water, and you would have to provide additional mitigation for that. So those things are not possible, as was the choice of, the option of putting on the old trawler dock at the north end of the harbor. Same thing. You don't want to store them up because there's a very little opening here. I've been on Booner's boat with he and his deckhands, and took a crab pot over there and took pictures and showed, okay, you gotta lift it way over your head to get up to the existing concrete dock space, and you got this narrow space to put them in there. And when you've got, let's just say 5 boats. You've got 5 boats waiting in line to get their pots up or down from there, that's impractical. To put another float there, now you're doing another overwater thing and more mitigation. So a lot of discussion has occurred on where we're gonna put them, how can we do this? The fish plant dock, well, we'll put them up there, so we looked at that. You could get 145 crab pots up there, but you gotta use a crane, get it up, and again, you got the same thing, you're gonna have lined up boats doing that. So there are a lot of things that we looked at, and they're not practical. Another one was, well, let's take them out and store them somewhere. Okay, fine, so then the boat captains come in with their truck and pick up their crab pots, and at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, they're going down the aisle, and so let's say they're loading on dock 4, you gotta wait till everybody on dock 4, all the crab pots get off that truck before you can move another truck, get them in and out, so now you're gonna traffic, it's just logistically impossible. Or impractical, it's not impossible, it's impractical. So all that stuff has been discussed here. And also before city council. Which has got us to the point where we are now with city council, this is what we got. And this is what we have to deal with. So, just for background, for folks.
And that's one of the problems with the cover, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
During its light penetration, they didn't like the cover at all because of all of a sudden, then we don't have the light penetration going through the dock.
I'd like to add from Jack number 1, since I'm Jack number 2, a little newer on the council here, and, or commission, excuse me. I thought you did your due diligence, honestly, sir, we looked at every option you did personally, and
Well,
maybe other
I think
people.
we're all a part of it, yeah.
Yeah, but it was, to exhaust every other means of putting them somewhere else, and I thought we came to a clear, concise decision where they need to go back in the docks. I'm a little blindsided, and, since, are you typing all this stuff, so I thought I'll see all the words. That the speed popped up out of nowhere, and I understand you usually have the meetings, that where did that come from, and for what costs, because if the doctor really paid for it, they paid for it, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah, so I mean, so to exhaust this huge amount, and I don't want to charter boat, I'm not a, I don't have a, that's not my issue here, it just seemed an fairness of fairness, so I hope tonight we can come to some type of a concise, plan, something fair, and a hell of a lot better than what that was offered, and hold tight on that, that shouldn't have even came up, I thought this was done, I honestly thought this was resolved, and that's what Gunnar quit, honestly, he was fed up, and at least that's what he told me, and I get that. I know we can only recommend, I know they have the ultimate say, but it seems to fall on deaf ears, I think I quoted that here recently, as far as this is what we want to do based on all this background we did. So that's my hope for tonight, is,
Well, we have no choice for tonight, but to decide on a proposal from the Harbor Commission to City Council on the fee for crab pot storage. This is not to say that this is the end of everything.
can I start with the proposal?
Huh?
Fee, I would like to introduce a fee,
Okay,
$100 per year, if they want to partner that, I mean, I like, I think Jurgen over did some math, and I get that, but I don't see people trying to make a living here, really, how they should impact them. If they want 1,000, I say 100, and maybe we can meet somewhere like 120, 117 or something like that. Just my proposal. I have no science to back that on. I did not measure anything.
Well, I make a proposal that we do $250 a year.
Okay.
Like Jordan suggested. I think that's a fair amount. Anything more than that is just kind of out of the realm. I mean, crabbing is super important to our city and our port. Anything more than that, we just simply won't be able to afford to crab anymore.
so, okay, now on a $250 per year, because we've got two proposals of square footage. One is the square footage of the boat, and the other is of the vessel, and the other is the square footage of the crab pot storage area, which is, I think, what you covered. Right? So if we're talking about storage on the dock, we should probably use that $250 a year per square footage, use of square footage on the dock.
If I could just clarify, it was $240.
Yeah, $10 a square foot. 24 square foot, $240.
$240 is the.
So that's what you'd have to implement to every mortgage holder. $10 a square foot to store pots on the dock.
Right, what are the council, you got me,
Sorry about that.
commission members, think of that?
If they're fine with it, I'm fine with it, absolutely.
I propose $10 a square foot
I
for
second
a crab pot storage.
I'm good with it.
But I also, I hope they make it clear that's a high amount. I was low, maybe to come back to 250 or. I just don't see anything higher than what was done. I know it's only that 3 feet.
That's mine, so $90.
Okay. I'm good with that, $240 a year, based on the square footage of the storage area on the dock.
I'll make a motion to that effect.
Okay, we have it moved that we propose to city council that the user fee for crab pot storage be $240 a year based on the square footage of the storage space on the dock. Do I hear a second?
I second.
I've got it moved and seconded. I need let's call the roll on this one.
Okay, I just want to clarify, so when you're saying this, you're basically applying the $240 a year to every mortgage holder?
Yes, you want to store crab pots on the dock?
Okay, so I wouldn't get into
Okay, hold
the
on,
square
hold on.
footage then.
We got.
$10 a square foot.
But $10 a square foot, I only need 9 square feet.
Okay,
So it would vary
He's
depending
in a
on how
different-
many pots they were putting on the dock if you go to the $10 a square foot.
all right, so how many classifications of vessel are we talking about? B and C or A, B, and C?
A and B, and then C should be, A and B should probably be thrown into the same category.
I only
They're pretty
want to have
close.
2 rates.
Yeah, so A and B together and then C.
Thank you for clarifying.
So the
Okay, so,
total should be, I'm sorry, yeah.
no, go ahead, no, you go ahead.
$10 a square foot for A and Bs, which take a 3x3, 9 square feet.
Yeah.
And for class Cs, 3x8,
Which comes out to be,
24 square feet.
which is 24 square feet,
which would be
240 and 90.
90.
Yeah, so 240 for the class Cs and 90 for the class As and Bs.
Hey, do we have a motion to that?
Thank you. I'll amend my motion to include the two,
Okay, so A and B at $90 a year. And C at $240, based on the square footage of storage space.
Is there any boats like mine that have more than 4 pounds?
I second that.
Okay, moved and seconded.
If we add that, maybe I'm out, I thought Jurgen, right?
Yes, sorry.
I probably know you by boat more than that, but, I thought what you said was brilliant, it never occurred to me about leaving them on at night.
well, we're gonna.
Okay, I'm sorry, that was a brilliant statement, and I thought about that later, and,
No, it is brilliant, but we needed to take care of it.
okay, I'm sorry, it just, so my mind, sorry, Jack, number one.
I think, yeah, one hurdle at a time.
Yeah, it's,
Okay, all right. So it has been moved and seconded that we charge the A and B class vessels, $90 a year for crab pot storage. And C class vessels, $240 a year for storage based on the square footage of the storage space on the dock. Okay,
Thank you.
So how many pots?
well, the number of pots is, you can only store 20 pots per dock section. So you've got 4 docks, so you get 20, 40, 60 per dock. 60 times 4 is 200, total of 240 crab pots, and I don't think we're gonna see 240 crab pots stored on the dock under the current dock storage requirement.
Not even close.
All right, would you call the roll, please?
All right,
Here,
Martin,
In favor, yes.
I'm sorry, okay.
O'Brien,
Yes,
Yes,
motion passed.
okay. That is the proposal we will take to city council on the first of.
April Fool's Day.
Fool's Day.
Right, Jeff and I'll be there.
Yes.
And we will present it and argue our state, or how we feel, and I really wanna go back to Jurgen's management of the docks, need to work together with the usage of the dock. That just resonates real big with me, and I'm gonna keep that right here, because we have a lot of people trying to make decisions that know nothing about how the harbor operates. It's very frustrating.
And for years, I have used the expression working dock. And then I was informed that that particular phrase wasn't appreciated by a number of people. So I changed the referral to a multi-use dock, or something along those two. Made it more, politically correct, I guess. Still, I'm not, okay, let me leave it there, please, because, I think that, we will move on with this, and then in the future, I would like to propose that when we propose this to city council, that we say, let's give it a try, let's try it for a year, let's see how it works. You know, rather than go $1,000 a year, or whatever. And then come back and look at it, and see how it works, and how the storage works, and then in a year, we'll review it again, and say, okay, then you can talk about modification, why don't we do this, or we do that. But before that, we will have information from the engineering company on exactly, because there is a formula for determining, that they use to determine how many pots could be stored per dock section. And so we can get into that downstream. Okay,
And so I'd be happy to send you that memorandum that you prepared.
all right, new business, we have no new business. Meeting wrap up, commissioners' comments. So for meeting wrap up, I will just say that we have come to a conclusion and come up with a proposal for city council for crab pot storage on the dock.
Let's say it's unanimous conclusion, fair statement?
Yeah.
And no one opposed,
Yeah.
I would hope it carries a little bit of weight this time instead of going back and forth.
Well, most of our, yes, okay, good point. Excuse me. Commissioners' comments, Jack, anything else?
Well, I have a lot, but I'll keep quiet. One thing I'll add is future, talk about the card locks, can I bring it up for next month? And we have a harbor commission, Carla told me 2 spots, non-resident, is that correct, or non-living in the city?
There are 2 spots.
Yeah, out of 5.
Out of 5.
And I believe we have one at Klein that lives in Taft, which I would consider 10 miles from here, and that's.
It's out of the city limits.
Yeah, it's okay.
That doesn't mean that person can't apply and have the, application on record, you
Right,
know?
but they gotta wait for an opening. I was hoping this way, is it a lot of work to amend that to the city council? It's for another day, but it's just something to think about. You're pretty small. I'm thinking someone lives in Taft or lives in somewhere else close by would still be considered a part of that. So I was just asking that. Okay. At least have the option.
We could put that on the agenda.
Yeah, you could
Does-
discuss amending the membership.
Yeah. Ted, anything additional?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely ridiculous that we cannot produce a profit and loss statement for the harbor or nor a balance sheet. These statements of the harbor losing money is, I find, appalling. And I'll tell you, man, with these new docks, we're gonna be saving $80,000 to $100,000 a year on maintenance. I really think that until we see a profit and loss statement and a balance sheet, nothing can really be said or done about trying to raise revenue. It's very concerning to me.
Okay. We'll see if we can't get the city to give us that.
Can you have that for us in a couple weeks?
That would be coming from the city administrator. I don't do the financial reports.
Do we have a city administrator? Who's that?
City administrator reports, Kim Wallenberg.
Okay. All right. So she can.
Good.
I just like to say thank you for everyone's input tonight. It's really helpful. And I just feel like after serving on the commission for a long time, we've worked really hard to gain the ears and respect of the council, that before they kind of didn't listen, and I think that we have made some real good inways there, but not enough. And I'm gonna keep on it, and I'm gonna keep, you're the people down in the bay that know how things work, and that's who I'm listening to. And that's, gonna be my voice to them. Is that, we need to make this fair and equitable to everyone, not just be the person that is constantly getting pushed around. And that's my personal feeling about it. And I'm gonna represent the harbor.
Okay, and I also will echo Liz's comments about thanking the people who gave us the input at the jury meeting today and in this meeting here. And that's what we need more, that's what the Harbor Commission wants. Excuse me. That's what the Harbor Commission wants, is input from the people who are doing the work. Okay, nothing further. This meeting is adjourned at 7:05 p.m. Thank you all very much.
I want to say thank you for our new dock.